We won't hesitate to fight for a better day until we claim, I say claim, our victory.
Oh, testify.
Please call my name. I wanna hear my name. Please call my name. I wanna hear. Please call my name. From above. Please call my name. Put my faith to the head, straight to the glass. Yeah. God, give me eyes of righteousness so I can see.
Well, one war ends and another one begins, and it seems like now it is the fake Puritans that are waging war on those of us that are actually really against the woke bullshit within media and also society. One of the people who we thought was a fairly level-headed person is showing her true colors along with other people who think the same way as her, but also are showing the hypocrisy, and that is the main issue here. It is not someone's religion, it is their hypocrisy, and this person being, of course, Melonie Mac. And I figured it would be a good idea to weigh in on this since I already have chimed in a bit on social media myself, along with other people, but I figured let me do this in video form to really dive into this and say things the way I really want to say it without having to be restrained by a character limit or anything like that. But I will not be talking about this alone. I will be joined with my good friend Jenpachi.
Thanks for having me. Always good to do these kind of videos with you. There's definitely a lot to unpack here, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you, and I agree with this, where it's not about the religion. There's nothing wrong with you being a Christian or not being a Christian. It's more so the hypocrisy and the framing of the arguments, which are completely disingenuous. So, you know, there's a lot to unpack here. I really want to get into this because I feel like this is something that's been brewing for a while, and I think now it's just at a head where now, you know how the left, they do the cannibalism where, like J.K. Rowling, she wasn't woke enough, now she got cannibalized, and now you're seeing it this way where they're trying to act like gamers aren't pure enough because they're not religious zealots.
I actually agree with you with the J.K. Rowling analogy because that's exactly what it is, because, you know, the left eat the left, and now it seems like the right's eating the right, but the difference is here is that with Melonie Mac and others where it seemed like they were on our side, and they'll claim that they still are, but they're trying to preach and lecture to everyone about their religion and trying to push that onto others in entertainment when it shouldn't be that way. Because if we don't want, woke propaganda in our entertainment, we don't need religious propaganda there. We don't need some Bible thumper who less than about 5 years ago or so was advocating for LGBT content in games, wanting people like characters like Chris Redfield to be gay and things like that, claiming that they had stopped being friends with people because they were allegedly a homophobe, a bigot, and whatnot. People like that, just have this come to Jesus moment, and then they're going hardcore Christianity on everyone when what they're doing makes no sense, because they're indulging in entertainment that promotes a bunch of crazy shit like violence, blood and gore, sex, drugs, alcohol, thievery, all these things that you would assume that they would be against because it goes against their morals, their religion. Again, they're huge Bible thumpers. People like Melonie Mac or even Razor Fist, quartering, other people like that, where it makes no sense. And that's the point of why we're calling out the hypocrisy.
The real trouble with all this is when they're saying that they're trying to act like they're against this stuff, but really they're using it as a way to push their beliefs onto other people. They're literally, like as you said, doing the same thing that the left were doing, and that we spent all this time fighting the left just for them to say, all right, now it's our turn, and we're in like an endless cycle. That's actually what happened before. During like the 80s and 90s, people were so stuffy, and there was the satanic panic. Then all of us, there was such a strong push that they went too crazy, and then it became like where we were at for a long time with like degenerate stuff. First it was normal. We had normal games. Then it became like actual like weird shit, like trying to make everything gay, everything trans. Then we're kind of coming full circle where gaming seemed like it was gonna make a recovery, and now we have to deal with like authoritarian, faux religious people. Trying to basically insert themselves in there like it's a power vacuum. Like the old mob boss just died. Now they're all scrambling to try to get power and whatnot. So anyway, but the hypocrisy comes down to calling out one thing while not calling out the others. If sex appeal is so bad, so like as you said, you hit the nail on the head. So is violence, idolatry, stealing, sloth, greed, and wrath. You know, it's pretty much collective across all of gaming. If you want to look at it through like a hyper-religious lens, as these people are trying to look at like basic sex appeal as, because in the end of the day, what is God of War? A game about wrath. Literally, this guy is so pissed, he's so angry, he literally kills all the gods. You know? Or you have a Melonie Mac with Tomb Raider. She has a statue in the background of this character. By biblical definitions, that's idolatry. You know? So it's insane to me that these people are saying these things. Like, and let's take Razorfist for example. Razorfist has videos praising Hitman. His favorite game is called Thief. I wonder what you do in a game called Thief. I wonder if that's not one of the 7 sins. I'm sorry, one of the sins or not. You know what I mean? And then there's also, like I said, back to Hitman, where you're killing people for money. How is that not degenerate by those standards? You know, you're preaching religion, and then you're playing a game where everyone's life has a price tag on it. Again, I'm not against Christian people. I used to be religious, and I don't have anything against Christian people, but we have to be held accountable, and we have to keep things, you know, we have to keep ourselves grounded and think about like, come on, what are we really doing? So what are we really doing here? So yeah, like people just need to understand that, and we don't want to be preached to. You know, we wanted neutral games. That's all we wanted. Games where they were fun, they were made with the artistic intent behind it. No agendas. Now, if that particular artist wants to promote something, then the free market will decide what they want and what they don't want. But we don't need people sitting there from a high horse saying, this is not allowed, this is allowed, this is bad, this is good, when it's really all arbitrary and based on their particular values. You know, even the left had, look, no one ever argued the left didn't have the right to make their game. But the thing is that they started interjecting their politics into Spider-Man, into GTA, you know, whatever game series that we like. You know, they can make as many intergalactics as they want. You know, that's their right to make that. And if people reject it, they reject it. But don't put it inside of Dragon Ball Z, Gears of War, or whatever game series you love, and then try to pretend like you're not shoving it in there. And that's what people were actually fighting against, not people's freedom of creativity.
That's a good point about, you know, the free market will decide, because the free market had decided when it came down to the woke games that came out recently, like Dustborn, Concord, Unknown 9 Awakening, Flintlock, even a few years ago, Forspoken, and I'm sure there's other games, and I'm mainly getting into like new IPs, games that aren't attached to an established franchise, because, you know, a lot of them do pretty well, really just because of name recognition. But the market decided with that they didn't want that. So what do you think that these religious zealots are going to get when those type of games, like these ultra religious games that they want to promote, or what they're advocating for, that aren't going to be allegedly demonic or degenerate? How do you think the market's going to decide? Because religion really doesn't have much of a place within gaming like that, because people are more so interested in apolitical games. That's what we have been advocating for from the start when it came down to the wokeness within games or within media as a whole. We don't want propaganda from the right, propaganda from the left. We just want things to be entertaining and agenda free. We want escapism. It's not that difficult. So the crazy part with all this is that with Melonie Mac, she was going after the First Ascendant. That's how this whole thing spawned from, was the First Ascendant. It was kind of weird because someone by the name of, I believe his name was Dread Roberts, who originally made a post about it, I believe in December or maybe November. And then Melonie Mac chimed in, and then it obviously became overblown from there. Not overblown, but it blew up from there. And she became like the main target because she has a bigger following. So, and other people chimed in, like Quartering and others. And the funny thing with her and Quartering is that they even had said themselves that they don't know anything about the game. They didn't play the game. Do these people really play games like that?
It's a bunch of coomers who are mad that I said I didn't.
Oh, I went and defended you, and they're all over my ass too.
Bro, I swear.
All I
it's
said
like,
was this one game is Coomer bait,
Well,
which it is.
I don't know that much about that game.
I don't know if these are all people who are fans of this game. I didn't know what it was. I said it's a Coomer game, which it is. Okay, and I don't care.
Right, it is.
Did
At
I
least
say
admit it. Admit
Yeah.
what you're playing.
Whenever you pin these people to a corner and bring up their hypocrisy, they like to twist Bible verses around to fit their narrative, instead of just owning up to what they did. I don't understand why they can't just take accountability and say, you know what, I fucked up, or you know what, yeah, you're right, you got a point, you know what, I messed up. They can't. And that's the problem. Like, these people are egomaniacs, it seems like. And this woman in particular, Melonie Mac, has done a 180 like several times. It's like wrestling when a wrestler makes a heel turn back and forth, just like the Big Show almost. It's insane where she is inconsistent, and she has been for a very long time. When it comes down to the first Ascendant, first of all, the character is Luna. She is a DJ. It is part of her character. So her dancing around and all that relates to her character. It's how she is able to do abilities and moves and such. It's no different than other games, like fighting games like Street Fighter, where the character is dancing because it's related to their character. It makes sense. It's part of the backstory and all that. And the outfit in question is optional. And she's talking about provocative clothing and whatnot. What about Tomb Raider? What about the outfits in Tomb Raider? That game and so many of the other games, minus the recent reboot that Crystal Dynamics did around 2013, who she was also a fan of apparently, those outfits are very scantily clad. She was a sex symbol. That's what Lara Croft was. That's what she was meant to be, along with many other characters. Other characters she even had defended or praised, like Eve from Stellar Blade, Juliet from Lollipop Chainsaw, or even Bayonetta from Bayonetta. She defended Bayonetta as well. And Bayonetta is like the ultimate sex symbol when you think about it.
I want to add about these people where you said, why don't they make Christian games? Why don't they make, let the free market decide? I think it's funny because whenever people with these kind of views, whether it be like the woke people that want to push all their stuff or the religious people, they always want to hijack the infrastructure that already exists. They always want to use Spider-Man as a vehicle for their agenda. They always want to use the God of Wars as a vehicle for their agenda. The games that currently exist, because they know the free market is going to reject both extremes. Because ultimately, as big as as many Christians as they are, and I'm sure there's a ton of liberals, really there are, but in either sense, those people don't make up the majority of people that have more mixed views, where they're more like, I wouldn't say centrist, but their views are more balanced. They're not like far leaning in any direction. And those are the people that majority play games. That's the dad that comes home from work and wants to play, God of War because Kratos is cool, or the woman who plays an RPG game because they're fun and they just want to be in a fantasy world. That comprises most of gamers. They always want to take infrastructure. They want to hijack the movie, hijack the comic, whether it be religious or not religious. They want to hijack these things. They want to take them over to push their agendas because they know it will fail if they don't do that, do otherwise. It's really funny. I'm glad you brought that up because it's been consistent between both sides of things. And I think these people like Melonie Mac, the Razor Fist, but I'm gonna focus on Melonie Mac, but where it kind of shows, and like seeing the people like Quarter Pounder raise her fist, Big Mac herself, like when you see these people, the sandwich people, stick together and defend their hypocrisy, it's funny. It's funny, and it's funny because you see Razor Fist, a guy who is known for fast talking, using a shit ton of words you have to dig in the back of the dictionary to find, and then he's trying to gaslight people on Twitter, and it's like the guy who's been against leftists for so long is acting exactly like a leftist, and then trying to use 20 syllable words to try to own people, as if this is like, as if he's arguing against the typical leftist who's it's easy to destroy them, so I just think the whole thing is funny. And as far as like the perverted games thing goes, you gotta remember, and I'm so tired of this argument where people try to take the word porn and warp the meaning. They love calling gamers porn addicts, gooners, whatever stupid thing some rapper said that everyone wants to say now, whatever new crap they come up with, whatever new term, whatever new buzzword they come up with. They always like throwing that term out and trying to redefine what the meaning of porn is. Porn is sexually explicit content that you can watch or look at, whether it's a picture, whether it's video, but a book can be pornographic. If you're not depicting sex acts, it's not porn. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you people. I hate to break it to you, the Alyssa Marcantes of the world, the Melonie Max of the world, the Anita Sarkeesians of the world. It's not porn. If you're not, if those criteria are not met, it's just a sexy woman that pisses you off because you don't like that men like them. And in her case, she doesn't like it because it goes against her biblical beliefs or how she defines and interprets those biblical beliefs. So, you know, to see Melonie Mac have videos defending Stellar Blade and say, have they ever played Final Fantasy? And then meanwhile, you know, bash the First Descendant when she herself has admitted she never even played it, knows nothing of the game, and then not even having the self-awareness to say, hey, I talked about something I don't know about. Let me at least come with a more measured approach.
And I have the same stance on queers as I do these Gooners.
Is this anything pornographic? I would say no.
Yes, what you're doing is shameful. Yes, I think this stuff is shameful and I don't want it in my entertainment because it's shameful and it's hurting society.
I mean, dude, have these people played Final Fantasy? The people complaining, have they played Final Fantasy at all?
It's disgusting and it's perverted. No, I don't want it.
Because this, especially like some of the, I mean, Final Fantasy, we've seen outfits like this and even more revealing. It's just,
It's art. Do I think that people participating in these activities are losers? Yes.
it's not even pornographic at all. I don't see the problem.
But you know what? It doesn't mean you have to always be a loser.
It shows you how these people think. These people, even me and Revenant, you know, I'm not saying that we're like this, we're saviors or not, because we're not. I'm just saying nobody that you watch on YouTube is your savior. All these people are inconsistent. Everyone's gonna have a belief that you may or may not agree with. And I think this is perfect because it really shows, you know, the kind of people that are at the top of the anti-woke side of things. They're banding together. The sandwich people, Big Mac, Quarter Pounder, Raise Her Fist. They're all banding together to defend this woman, literally simping for this woman when she said, look, I don't think she's a terrible human, but she said something dumb and got called out for it. And that's the point. She said something silly. She said something that was baseless. She got called out. Let her have the accountability. This woman was a Jeff Healy show. Then she was a woke leftist. Then she became anti-woke, and now she's religious. Now she's a hyper-religious person. She's had 4 gimmick changes, multiple heel and face turns, and I don't think, and look, again, I'm no longer really religious, but I grew up with Christianity. I know the Bible very well. I do. I know the Bible very well. I've been in multiple churches growing up, and I'm gonna tell you that her definition and understanding of it, the lens that she looks at it through, the lens that she looks at her religion through, it's warped. She's warping it to fit whatever she feels it suits her or benefits her. Well, God never said I can't have tattoos, right? God doesn't want you to be miserable. But the thing is, if you're not living like an Amish person, if you're not dedicating every hour of your life to God, if you're engaging in the world, if you're engaging in worldly activities, which it says also is part of the Bible, if you're engaging in worldly activities, then you are being distracted from God. So fine, everyone believes their religion in their own way, which is acceptable, but you can't sit there and preach one thing as bad, you misrepresent it, and then totally ignore the other things in that same hobby because you don't have as much of a problem with it, even though in hyper-religious terms they're all against what you're supposedly preaching. So that's the key difference here. That's what's going on, and I just find it, ridiculous. And I think it's sad that it's come to this point where so many people are just telling her to take accountability and she just won't do it. And I'm gonna say one last thing about Stellar Blade and the First Descendant. If you play either one of those games, if you play the story, neither story sexualizes the characters at all. All the cosmetics in Stellar Blade and the First Descendant are all optional. The characters in the story never really reference them in a perverted way. The only one that I can think of is in Stellar Blade. There's a part where the fisherman makes a joke, and you know, Eve gets the special outfit for doing the fishing minigame, and he makes a comment. It's like, oh, this is what it was. The reward was the fisherman's treasure, and it's basically a sexy outfit. And she kind of like does like that, like, you know, like, oh, I should kill you for this. Makes a joke out of it, and that's literally the only time. And even then, it's tame. So let's stop pretending that just because these women have certain outfits that they don't like because they show a little skin, that they're porn, because they're not. And it's just funny. I like how this all turned out. I think it's kind of like told a really hilarious story.
It's wild that this woman who's almost 40, no husband, no kids, tattoos all over the place, Hot Topic accessories, shit ton of makeup, dyeing her hair every few days, crop top shirts almost all the time, wants to talk about her religion as being this Christian, wants to talk about these other games, about characters dancing and whatnot, but then she can do the same thing. Whether if it's mocking Tomb Raider or not, she's still doing it. She's on camera eating fucking butter, sticks of butter.
Butter and cheese.
She knows why. She's also doing it in a very provocative way as well. She's not just eating like regularly. She's looking at it. She's moving, going all slowly with it. I'm gonna call it what it is. She's an Ethot. She's like the original. She's probably might as well have been the original Ethot. She's been doing this for a long time, like you had mentioned before. She had many different gimmick changes over the years, back and forth. Doesn't know what the fuck. I mean, maybe next year she'll be an atheist. Who knows? Or maybe she'll fully commit, just be a nun. I mean, might as well since her eggs are dry. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that she's being a hypocrite. She's not taking any accountability whatsoever. She's doubling down every chance she gets. She keeps talking about how she's a victim, or even like fucking raise her fist. Talk about you're dogpiling me and whatever. Yeah, the guy or the people in particular that have thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers and subscribers are being dogpiled by smaller accounts. That makes sense, right? And I'm referring to what he said to Base Planet, I believe that's his name. Definitely check him out, cool guy. But anyway, these people, you know, they try to play the victim, and it's like, own what you say and stop trying to act like a bitch about it. That's the problem with these people. Like they want to talk a big game, act all tough, like raise the fist. I'm this biker metal guy. I'm a brand, show all my fucking my gun collection and whatnot. And shit like that, and fucking teeny and fucking tiny little ass people, fucking no physique whatsoever, but then want to act tough on the internet and shit. Or standing with Melonie Max, she's tiny as well. And it's kind of funny because you see the video with her and Jeff Keighley. She actually did look happier, and looked like she, you know, wasn't starving herself or anything. But maybe that was before she ate more than just butter. But you know, the talk all this big game, but then they'll run and act like a victim. What does that sound like? The same woke leftists that run their mouths and do the exact same thing. And the funny thing, they'll block you afterwards, and that's the same thing that Razorfist does too. And I'm sure the other people as well, like Quartering and others, because they're all in their same little echo chamber where they want to act all pure and high and mighty when they indulge in the same media that we do. They're no different than us. One last thing I want to say, and this is mainly directed towards Razor's Fist, but I don't know if Melonie Mac defended this game or not. She probably did. But Baldur's Gate 3, without a doubt, is woke trash. It is degenerate. It is demonic. And I'm saying that in regards to what these people, what these religious zealots want to claim is demonic and degenerate. And they want to talk about, and a lot of times they want to talk about Eastern games. It's usually the Eastern games that get targeted about this shit. But with Baldur's Gate 3, you have pronouns. You can put a penis or a vagina on either male or female. You can roam around the game butt naked. You're doing acts like licking goblin toes. You're having sex with fucking bears. And I don't care if they transform into a bear. It doesn't matter. They showed that shit off on purpose. They know what they were doing. You have all this goofy shit on top of that. Let me before I forget this. Every character, every party member wants to fuck your main character, regardless of their backstory. So they know what they're trying to do. I mean, the Game Awards awarded the voice actor for the vampire who's fucking gay. It was talking about we reached out to our community in times of need when they were not heard. And this is the game these people want to praise and defend and act like there's no double standard and act like it's not woke trash. That goes to show you how hypocritical these people are.
You know, you made some great points, and Baldur's Gate 3 really was the center star of wokeness, because it's crazy how many people that claim to be anti-woke defended that game and kind of showed like their lack of self-control. In the end of the day, a lot of these people are hypocrites, and I want anyone out there who's Christian to know that there's nothing wrong being Christian. It's beautiful that you have faith in something. It's just that, don't be a hypocrite. If one is bad, then all is bad. If one thing is a factor of you not wanting to play games, then all of the sins that take place in those games should also be a factor. We have to be accountable and be balanced people, because we didn't do all of this stuff happened before, and then all those religious people got ousted. Then there was balance. Then the woke people went crazy, try to push all kinds of lunacy, transgender stuff, all kinds of weird stuff. Then they got ousted. Now we can't let these people come into that power vacuum, try to put their authoritarian shit out there, for them to tell you what to do, for them to condone what's allowed in games or not. We have to oust them and not let them take that spot. We have to return the balance. So, nothing against any religious people. Like I said, I grew up in religion. It's all good, but come on, we gotta have a brain. We gotta actually think rationally, and look past ourselves and understand that there's very clear hypocrisy. If one is wrong, then if one sin is bad, all the sins are bad. I know it sounds like sin bad. I'm just gonna say sin bad. Anyway, but yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fun. I always like talking, doing these kind of videos with you and giving our thoughts on it. I think it's really cool. We'll definitely do it again soon. I know there's a couple other things we were gonna do together with future videos. So I'm Jenpachi. You can check out my channel. I make animation. I have a lot of Arkham content. I have my own series Augur. I've been working on episode 2 and other things, so that's gonna come. It's been a while, but it's definitely still gonna come. Have fun, enjoy your games. Don't let people tell you what's not and not allowed. I think that's like the last thing I want to say about it.
Absolutely. It's always great collabing with you and talking about the things that need to be said. We don't need authoritarian zealots or activists from either side trying to come in and hijack our hobbies. We need balance restored, and with all that being said, don't let the good door hit you with the good Lord split you.
Come on over here, Melonie.
all right.
Hang with us.